Hello, this is Ramona. Thanks for tuning in to the TurboPurr channel, inspired by happy cats, smooth running crafting and sewing machines. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Enjoy! It's fun to draw, and it's so much easier with a ScanNcut. I'm using the ScanNcut SDX 330D, which I purchased at a Brother sewing machine dealership store. You may have another model of ScanNcut. I'll provide links in the description regarding the supplies that are listed here. One thing I particularly wanted to mention is the reason for the washi tape. My ScanNcut mats are no longer sticky, and I use a piece of washi tape at the top and bottom center of the cardstock to attach it to the mat, and you'll see this in later pictures. It's very important when you're using any kind of tape with these mats to keep the tape away from where the computer codes are, because when you load the mat, the machine reads the computer codes, and you need to have the washi tape away from those codes because they could block the codes and create an error message. The other thing is that I avoid putting any tape around where the rollers are, because if the tape comes off, it can cause a real sticky problem. This bundle of markers and marker holder is included with many ScanNcut bundles. This is a small holder, and these markers are specifically designed for this holder. The ones at the top are used for standard marking tools for drawing designs. The two with the bands, the turquoise band and the purple band, are generally used for marking on fabric. If your ScanNcut has some included quilting designs, these may have the seam allowances, and if you open up the designs on your ScanNcut and look at them, you may notice that they have blue lines that are in 1/4 of an inch for the seam allowances, and the blue turquoise stripe tool is useful in particular for marking those seam allowances before cutting out the fabric on the outside line. The purple tool is an air erasable marker that generally disappears within about 24 hours or so after marking. I've used this marker not only for fabric but also for cardstock. If you are doing rubber stamping of designs with ink and you want to align your designs, when I was using it, I was aligning a series of butterfly designs with a rubber stamp, and I wanted to line them all up evenly. You can use this tool on cardstock to mark the lines where you want your designs to go, and then rubber stamp over those marks, and then magically the marks disappear after 24 hours or so from your cardstock. This is the back of the tool. You press here to open. I generally use my fingernail to to press that open. It's important when you put this in the machine to make sure that it's fully seated. You may need to wiggle it around a little bit and make sure that it clicks in place. It should click in place easily. If the little gray bar doesn't come down all the way and it's not fully seated, then the tip of the pen won't be in contact with your paper, and then when you set it to draw, nothing will happen. This has happened to me before by accident. So always make sure that you take a little time, and if you need to wiggle it or take it out and put it back in, do that until you're able to slide it in easily and push that gray bar down to hold it in place. Here I'm going to be selecting a built-in design to demonstrate. The sentiments are listed in alphabetical order. I make a lot of birthday cards, so I've toggled down on the down arrow until I reach the happy birthday sentiment, and then touch happy birthday to select that lettering. In this example, this is the default size of the lettering. I've actually changed it to reduce the size a little bit for the card that I want to fit. And then when you're done sizing, just click Set. The next step is we'll be filling in the lines with ink in this screen. Notice that when it appears on this screen, it appears in the upper left-hand corner. When you touch the lettering, a red box appears around it, and you can drag it with your finger or your stylus to anywhere on the grid that you want it. So I did that a little bit later. I've clicked Edit. Notice the red box around Happy Birthday. I've selected the icon that looks like a marker to fill the design. The default option for fill is turned off, so I've touched on for that icon to turn blue. Next, I touch the arrow for the fill pattern. The number 1 design takes the longest to fill because that's solid and the pen has to go back and forth more. And this also uses more ink from the markers that you are using. The other designs, particularly the number 4 and the number 5, provide a really pretty lacy effect, and it, they're all very nice. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. With this one, I wanted a solid fill, so I've clicked OK. Notice here that the lettering is filled with blue on the screen. The blue denotes that this is a drawing function. I've clicked OK, and now I am going to draw. I've loaded the mat, and so the Start button has turned green. And here I'm drawing. Generally, the drawing tool draws around the design first and then sweeps back and forth to fill it in. If I had been cutting this happy birthday lettering instead of drawing it, and I had the cutting tool in place, it would only cut on the outside line and the design would have just appeared black on the screen. So the ScanNcut is smart. Once you tell it what you're doing, it sets the machine up to do that. And here the drawing is done. Another option for drawing is using Brother's pen holder, and Brother has made a couple of different pen holders in the past. I have put a piece of washi tape across the top of mine to hold it into the height adjuster. For the tool that we were using before, it was designed only for those really small markers, and so there was no height adjuster needed because the only type of pen that could be used in those little markers were those little specific pens. This option gives you a choice of different types of pens that you can use. And the reason for the height adjuster is that you have to make sure that the tip of the pen is touching the paper. I've put a little piece of masking tape on the bottom of the height adjuster just to kind of keep it clean, and I can change out that tape when I want to. I'll put a link in the description regarding these pens. I really like these a lot. They come in a bunch of different colors. So here you can see the slot in the top. You have to push up and twist to secure that marker in there. Notice that the tip of the pen is touching the height adjuster. It's removed from the height adjuster and it's ready to go in the machine. And here I've put it in the machine and done the drawing, and our drawing is finished. Another option for ScanNcut is the 3D FunPrintz marker holders. 3dfunprints.com is a company based in the UK. They're a private company, and I am going to show you this and also another tool from the same company. I would like to mention here that if you decide to use parts or supplies that are not specifically manufactured by Brother, that this may void the warranty on your Brother machine. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to the place where you purchased your Brother ScanNcut, or you can ask others about it, the Brother company or the company that is making the parts for it. In this example, I will show you I've loaded the Sharpie into the 3D FunPrintz holder. The height adjuster is needed so that the tip of the pen will touch the paper. The cap is left off. It fits only this specific size of Sharpie. Notice the tip is touching the height adjuster. The cap is screwed on top. There are some grooves in the back of this that go against the machine. It should slide in easily. And here we go. I'm going to select a built-in pattern. Because this Sharpie has such a wide point on it, I am not going to fill in the design. I'm going to leave the fill off by default. This is my ScanNcut SDX 330D screen. I've toggled down to these designs. If you do not have these designs on your machine, you can try a different design. I've selected the lacy butterfly. I'm using the default size. Because the 3D FunPrintz holder is not manufactured by Brother, this message comes up because the machine does not recognize this holder. I simply click OK, and I move on to the option to draw. I have used black cardstock. Notice I have my cardstock taped in the center at the top with some washi tape to hold it on. It's also taped in the bottom at the center to hold the cardstock to the mat. And here is another option using a 3D FunPrintz universal holder. This tool is a little bit different. The top of it is open. So here is the tool. I'm using an ultra fine point Sharpie here, so I've pushed the Sharpie all the way down to touch the bottom. You screw in the top a little bit to hold that in place. There is a little rectangle towards the back of this tool that fits against the machine. It slides in easily and the gray bar is pushed down to get ready to draw. I've cut the cardstock to the size that I want, and I've scanned the cardstock with the ScanNcut prior to drawing and dragged the butterfly design to the center of the cardstock. And here's the finished design. Next, with the design selected in the screen, click Object Edit, and I'm going to fill the design again by touching the marker icon. I'm leaving in the same solid fill, but again, the default is off, so I've touched on to turn the fill option to blue to turn it on, and then clicked OK. The butterfly design is filled. And now I have filled the design. You can see on the far right, the design is filled. These are examples of the designs that I've shown you today with the different markers and holders. I like to cut these to the size of a card front or a card interior and glue these to blank greeting cards to make my own cards. I was thinking that with the cards that do not have the filled butterflies where it's the outlined, it would be really pretty to add some glue on crystals or pearls onto those. Be really nice. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lot of fun drawing with your ScanNcut. Have a fabulous day and let me know your comments. Thank you.